Like for me, truly, it's all about the CFA members, and it's all about this industry and this community and the magic of the community of CFA members.
Welcome back to another episode of Franchise Forward, the podcast where we explore the stories, strategies, and systems driving franchise success around the world. I am the host, Nishant Verma, founder and franchise developer, Franchise to World. I am a certified franchise executive and director of sales and marketing at Bricks for Kids. Today's guest truly needs no introduction for anyone in the Canadian franchise space and overall in franchising. She's someone I've admired not just as a leader, but as a champion of values-driven growth, innovation, and community building within our industry. Well, joining me today is Sherry McNeil, the President and CEO of Canadian Franchise Association, the leading voice of franchising in Canada, and I should say overall North America and beyond. Under her leadership, the CFA not only elevates the profile of franchising across the country, but has also been powerful advocate of ethical franchising, education, and inclusive growth. Sherry brings with her 2 decades of senior leadership experience, and her passion for supporting franchise business, big and small, is truly inspiring. Sherry, welcome to Franchise Forward, my podcast. Really glad to have you today with us.
Well, thank you so much for the invitation. I'm happy to be here, and I look forward to talking about franchising with you today.
Thank you. All right, let's start from the beginning. For all those who might be new to the world of franchising, could you share a bit about your journey and how you came to lead the CFA?
Oh my goodness. Well, it's a long and winding road on how I got to the CFA, but in a few sentences, I fell in love with franchising when I was in university, and I worked for a multi-unit gas station dealer, and it was a great job to have during university. When I graduated, I then worked for a company called Little Caesars of Canada, and which is a franchise, and then went on to work at Boston Pizza. Yeah. I was an executive at Dairy Queen Canada for a long time. Then I opened my own consulting business and worked with a variety of clients, including new and emerging franchisors, multi-unit franchisees, and then large and iconic brands. So Pizza Hut, Good Earth Coffee, etc. And then I ended up at the CFA in this role. So I'm very passionate about helping people build brands. So CFA is no different. How do we build the brand of the CFA and build franchising in Canada? So that's why I'm here.
Absolutely. And I'm already excited. This is going to be a great session.
I'm excited too. Like for me, truly, it's all about the CFA members, and it's all about this industry and this community and the magic of the community of CFA members. And so let's jump right in. Let's talk about it.
Let's go for it. All right. And what was it about franchising? I know you said, you've been so many years throughout into this space, but what was about franchising that really connected with you? Was there a moment where you thought, this is where I belong?
Ooh, good question. So I call it the wow factor. And frankly, I'm addicted to it. So you're probably saying, well, what is the wow factor? So to me, the wow factor, and I still love it to this day. And I loved it from the first time I went to a new franchisee's new location. So because often development people or franchisors, they deal with potential new franchisees from initial call all the way to the opening of their franchise, whether that's a retail unit, a restaurant unit, a home-based business. And so I hail mostly from the restaurant space. And so I love when you walk into a brand new location and there's the franchisee and their family and their friends at the location. They're greeting everyone, they're excited, they're happy, and the franchisor is there, and you stop and you think and you go, wow, this business did not exist before. The franchisee, the franchisor, and the supplier partners working together made this happen and made this business a reality. And then that ripples and has an impact in that community, because franchisees are small business owners who live, work, and contribute to the community in which they live. So they hire local people, they contribute to local charities and events, they support that community, they pay municipal, provincial, and federal taxes. And just think about that. So every time I go to a new location, I go, wow, look at the impact this has. Franchisee, franchisor, and the community.
Goosebumps. I can say that.
I must forewarn you, I can talk franchising all day long, so I know you're on a schedule today. So
No, I'm happy. I'm happy to do that with you, and especially if you are there, isn't it? So you're at the center of it all. What are some of the most exciting trends that you are seeing, especially in the Canadian franchising right now?
So the Canadian franchise industry is the 12th largest industry in this country. So we were number 13, we moved to number 12. And in 2019, franchising in Canada was a $96 billion annual contributor to the Canadian GDP. By the end of 2025, that's projected to be $133 billion. So from 2019 to 2025, 96 billion to 133 billion coming out of a pandemic. Those numbers are astronomical, in my opinion, that growth. And that's about this community all working together to grow franchising in this country. And some of the trends that we see, so in 2019, franchising was in 50 different business segments or industry segments. Last year it was 60. So franchising is becoming more popular in different industry segments. So, and we expect that will continue to grow. So maybe we'll see 63 this year, or maybe we'll see 65 different industries. But franchising is a business model that if you have a business that you can scale, you can franchise it. And I don't think a lot of people realize that. They don't know that franchising is an option and a business model that they can use to grow their business. So we need to work together to spread that news and get more and more types of businesses franchising. We have seen a growth in a lot of categories. So health and wellness, fitness, home improvement and maintenance, and those home services have grown a lot. For instance, deck building, landscaping, groundskeeping, etc. Senior care. As the demographic shifts, we've seen that rise in senior care businesses, education, and retail and restaurant continue to be strong in the franchise space.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I've been into a few of those segments. I've been into retail, I've been into restaurant segment, and now also into the education. One thing I've always admired about CFA is how much you guys support both the legacy brands and of course the emerging franchisors. How do you kind of balance both the worlds, Sherry?
Well, we actually have several different tiers of membership. So we have new and emerging, mid-size, large, iconic, and then we have the supplier partners within the industry that are extremely important as well. And so the CFA, we get feedback from those different groups of members and they tell us what they need in order to grow their businesses. So we do provide products and services that help support that growth. There isn't any problem a franchisor or franchisee encounters that someone else in the CFA community hasn't already encountered and solved. So supplier members extremely important to help franchise systems grow, networking and mentorship within the community. So we do offer educational resources to all tiers of and all types of members, whether you're opening your first franchise location, your 400th or your 4,000th franchise location. There are things for everyone. We also provide, in addition to our educational resources, advocacy. So we are the only group that's advocating in Canada to protect and grow the franchise industry in this country. So we do get the opportunity to work with various levels of government, talking about franchising, talking about that franchisees are small business owners who live and work and contribute to their local communities. And so there's a variety of things that we do. We do learn and grow seminars. We do a variety of events, national convention, right? We do trade shows. Yay, national convention. We do trade shows, law day, marketing and ops day, all targeted to help the various franchisors, franchisees, and supplier members all work together to grow their business. We also have the CFE program, which is the highest designation you can receive in franchising. So that you will start to see more and more people get that designation in Canada. The program is becoming very robust. And so education, advocacy, brand awareness, and then we want to grow this community, because growing this community, we learn from each other, we teach each other, and that's really where the magic happens in this community.
Right now I feel like jumping on my chair because I'm a 2025 CFE graduate.
Yay, congratulations.
Yes.
And the one thing I think we saw the community really come together this year, all segments of our community, for World Franchise Day.
Absolutely.
So the inaugural World Franchise Day was June the 11th, 2025. It was a CFA started initiative, and then it was adopted by the World Franchise Council. So we saw all different members, whether they were new and emerging franchisees, large and iconic supplier partners, all come together to celebrate franchising on World Franchise Day and talk about the importance of franchisees being small business owners who live, work, and contribute to their local communities. Different government officials at different levels of government got involved, and it was amazing to see that it spread around the world through the World Franchise Council members. And over 65 countries participated, 1.1 million impressions on social media in one day, and 21 million mainstream media impressions. And this was the first one. So let's mark June 10th, 2026 in everybody's calendar for the next one, and let's start planning now so we can make it bigger and better and get the message out on franchising.
Let's make it bigger and bigger than even 2025.
Absolutely.
I would love to dive into something you speak so passionately about, values and purpose, which is so important in today's context more than ever. That franchising be rooted in purpose. Why do you think it is important in today's context?
So the CFA has 3 core values: growing together, which you'll see in a lot of our pieces that we put out, stronger together, and better together. And as you can see from those 3 core values, they're all about collaboration, working together, and everybody growing this community, growing their own businesses, but growing franchising in general. Our purpose is to help everyday Canadians realize the dream of owning their own business through the power of franchising. And by focusing on the franchisee and those potential franchisees, we provide products and services that help franchisors become the best franchisors they can be, to be able to provide the best support to their franchisees. We also offer programming to franchisees so they can be the best business owners they can be. So bringing those various pieces together definitely helps the community grow, but it's that intention. It's intentional, and how can I put this? It's intentional on what we focus on. So our members have to sign the CFA Code of Ethics, where they agree to practice ethical franchising, provide support to their franchisees, etc. And they're also dedicated to learning and sharing best practices. So that's really important for people who might want to become a franchisee. Look for the logo. So please look for the logo. Get into business with those franchisors and franchisees who are committed to doing the best thing for franchisees and franchisors working together and practicing ethical franchising and best practices. So it's to me, it's all about intentional and being intentional and following through on those 3 core values. Core values make decisions easy. And we know what our purpose is. And then our 4 strategic pillars: community, education, advocacy, and brand awareness. And everything the CFA does: purpose, core values, and those 4 strategic pillars.
Yeah, let's pledge for it once again. This is turning out to be, I can tell you, Sherry, such a masterclass today. Your insights are so powerful, I'm sure, for me and for all my viewers out there.
Well, I as I said, Nishant, I can talk about franchising all day long, so you might be in trouble today. So
I like this trouble. No complaints. All right. And you know, CFA does such incredible work as you shared in the last 15 minutes or so, supporting newcomers, small business owners, and first-time franchisors. Honestly, I am one of those. I've joined CFA a year and a half back as a newcomer to Canada. And boy, the support, the community, the friends I have made in such a short period. Could you share some initiatives or stories that have sort of stayed with you of these newcomers or new brands or whatever you may like to share?
Oh my goodness. Well, we are very fortunate at the CFA that we get to hear so many wonderful stories from people who either are small business owners who decided to franchise and go on the franchise journey and become a franchisor, and they started by taking our how to franchise your business courses, etc., and get involved with the CFA and how to select their first franchisees, etc. We also get the opportunity to hear wonderful stories from franchisees themselves, and we feature them a lot in our Franchise Canada magazine, in our Franchise TV, our various podcasts, etc. And there are so many great stories that I just couldn't even pick one, because as I said, we're so fortunate. We hear hundreds every year. Now, the one interesting part is that the CFA does an awards program that has a Franchisee of the Year, traditional and non-traditional. Those people are selected through nominations from their franchise community, their franchisor, supplier partners, etc. So I do encourage everybody to go on and listen and read about the award winners. Some just off the top of my head stories that I specifically remember. I remember one gentleman telling me the story. He decided he wanted to become a franchisor. New Canadian. He started a business here. He ran that for a couple of years, and when he was getting ready to franchise, it was a restaurant. They were having a Super Bowl event at the restaurant for Super Bowl Sunday. The one toilet in the one bathroom broke down. He actually went home, took the toilet out of where he was living, brought it back to the restaurant to make sure he could service his customers during one of the busiest days of the year, right? So entrepreneurs are so creative, they're so determined, they're so dedicated into making their business work. That gentleman went on to be a franchisor with many franchisees in Ontario. We also have heard a variety of stories of people who've arrived from other parts of the world, whether it's Albania or Johannesburg, and they move to Canada and they're like, I want to own my own business, and then they get into franchising. And Franchising is a great business model for people who are new to this country because you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. So you have the guidance and support of the franchisor, as well as the other franchisees of the system that can help guide you, help set you up for success. So, a franchisor provides support, operating manuals, trademarks, learning tools and resources, helps you know what inventory to order, how to set up your location if it's bricks and mortar, what type of lease that you would like, et cetera, et cetera. So in business for yourself, because franchisees are independent small business owners, but not by themselves. And so having that support system is key to people who are new to Canada. One, it helps them understand the Canadian culture and integrate into the Canadian culture. But two, they have that support system they can rely on.
Absolutely. I so much believe in this phrase, by yourself, and for yourself, but not by yourself. And to add to this, I would really also say, while you own your own business, franchising also gives you that edge where you can be a little bit creative as well, because you're ultimately a local business still.
Yes. So you would work with the franchisor to determine maybe there's a different marketing strategy for your market that's different if you're in Kelowna, BC, than maybe if you were in Montreal. Or if you were in Halifax. So sometimes the franchisee working with the franchisor can customize those pieces to make sure that, or you support different community initiatives. You might support the food bank in Vancouver, where another franchisee in Moncton might support the MS walk for multiple sclerosis. So depending on how they want to integrate within the community and what meets the franchisor's protocols.
Absolutely. All right. Now, you're one of the most influential women in franchising and such a strong advocate for others. What has your experience been navigating leadership, and what advice would you give to women stepping into this space?
So years ago, it was not unusual for me to be the only woman in the room. That's no secret. And I think it's absolutely amazing that diversity, equity, and inclusion is making its mark in Canadian society, and it's become once again intentional. Yes. So the advice that I would give anyone would be work hard, do the right thing, be prepared, be a good person, et cetera, and you will find the right way. I think there's a huge opportunity for franchising, whether it's at the corporate franchisor level or as a franchisee, for everyone. Franchising is very diverse. So 60 different business segments, as I mentioned, lots of opportunity depending on your skill set, your investment level that you're comfortable with, what you would like to do, what type of work-life balance you want to have. And there is opportunity within all different parts of franchising. The corporate level, there's lots of opportunity as well. And it is interesting that the number of female franchisees have increased dramatically. We did a survey with our members about a year and a half ago, and the number of female franchisees has grown by 35% in Canada. So that's significant, right? Yes. So, and we're seeing that also at the corporate level as well. We're seeing more diversity at boardroom tables in the franchisor system. We're seeing more diversity in the franchisee part of the system, and that can only make franchising stronger.
Absolutely. I so much vouch for what you're saying. And as franchising becomes more and more diverse, Sherry, what role do you see leadership playing in creating truly inclusive business environments?
I think leadership, you always have to hire the right person for the right job, or you always have to hire you always have to award the right franchise to the right franchisee. So I'm a big believer in that, but I think it needs to be intentional. So I think leadership needs to be intentional and really look at themselves. Do I have any unconscious biases? Do we have any unconscious biases within this organization that we could be potentially overlooking some great candidates? And how do we be self-aware as an organization that we're making the best decision for the organization, whether that's awarding a franchise or hiring a corporate staff member?
I love it when you say leadership has to be intentional. I think this is a learning for me, really. This podcast is turning out to be a great learning experience. Thank you so much, Sherry, for sharing your brains. Now, before we get into a little bit of fun, I have some serious questions still left for you.
Okay.
What excites you most about the future of franchising in Canada?
What excites me the most about the future of franchising in Canada? Well, one, I mentioned how we're at 60 different business segments. I think that's very exciting. So to grow 10 industry segments in 5 or 6 years is pretty significant. So that tells me other businesses and other industry segments are thinking about going on that franchise journey. And I think that's amazing. And I think that's very exciting. Will we get to 70? Will we get to 75 industry segments? Potentially. And where will that come from? Maybe mining will become a franchise. I don't know, right? Or, but there's that opportunity that if your business is scalable and replicable, it is the opportunity to use franchising as a model for growth across the country. So to me, that's very exciting. I think it's also very exciting to see things like the introduction of AI into franchising. And some of our members are doing some very creative things with AI for things like their local store marketing toolkits, their operations manuals, and being able to give franchisees even additional support through the use of AI and providing those various resources to franchisees. I think that's very exciting. I think it's very exciting that Canada and our franchise community is part of a larger global franchise community. And I think that's very exciting as we see brands enter Canada from other parts of the world and start to expand here, but also see Canadian brands go to other parts of the world and expand there. UK, Australia, India, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like that global economy and that global gateway is really starting to open up. And I think that's very, very exciting.
Absolutely. And you kind of partly answered where I was heading to. You said AI. So what should both aspiring franchisees and franchisors keep in mind as they build the next decade?
That's a good question. I think they need to, and I'll go back to the same word. I think they need to be intentional, and I think they need to start with the end in mind. If you're a franchisor, where do you want to grow to 10 years from now? And then what's your goal? And then work backwards with milestones set along the way and back to where you are today. And then create that map or that pathway on how you're going to grow to where you want to go through a strategic plan and what your strategic imperatives are going to be in order to get you to where you would like to be. That could include technology. So the implementation of technology, additional infrastructure, if you're going to grow into a system that's 100 units in 10 years or 50 units in 10 years or 4,000 units in 10 years, what does that infrastructure look like? Does it include AI? What other technological pieces do you need to implement? And once again, to me, that's intentional.
Absolutely. Thank you. I love it. I'm really loving this intentional phrase which you mentioned. And with all this, let's move on to the fun segment now.
Oh,
I know
fun
we
segment.
Yeah,
Okay.
which is rapid fire.
Rapid fire. Oh no.
All right, so let's get into this. Let's have a little fun before we wrap up. And first thing that comes to your mind, okay?
Okay.
Because
Okay.
this is rapid fire. So, one Canadian franchise brand you admire.
All of them.
All right. Best advice you've ever received.
Oh boy. Okay. I've been very fortunate. I have received a lot of great advice, and I have more than one, so I'm just going to list some off. Leadership is not a popularity contest. Be intentional with everything that you do, and I've talked about intentionality a couple times now. Start with the end in mind, where you want to grow to. Small thinkers will always think small. Don't let them slow you down.
Lovely.
One more. It doesn't matter, regardless of background, upbringing, rich or poor. Everyone puts their pants on one leg at a time.
Absolutely. So good. Awesome. I love it. A book or podcast you recommend apart from Franchise Forward, our podcast?
Well, Franchise Forward, the CFA podcast, of course, a book, Jim Collins, Good to Great, and Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
I love that too. All right. Franchising in one word.
Wow.
Wow. Thank you so much, Sherry, for joining us today. And I can tell you this was such a powerful and insightful conversation for me, and I'm sure for all my viewers out there, everyone who's going to watch and hear our podcast.
Well, thank you so much today. This was a great experience, great event. I really appreciate the time that you've taken to spend with me today, and let's work together to grow franchising in Canada.
Absolutely. And as you say, it's so addictive.
It is addictive, and it's the wow factor.
So Sherry, this has been such a powerful and insightful conversation. Thank you so much for your leadership, your warmth, and everything you do for franchising community. And to all our listeners, if today's episode sparked something in you, be sure to follow the Canadian Franchise Association and check out their incredible resources and events. And of course, don't forget to subscribe, rate, share the Franchise Forward podcast. We've got more inspiring conversations coming your way soon. Until next time, keep learning, keep building, and keep moving your franchise forward.